Welcome to the Bliss of Art. I'm certified teacher and artist Mary Boehme. Download the picture at mary2art.com, catalog, photography, and digital image, and paint along with me. I'm using an Inspire autograph to outline my form on Bristol paper. If you don't have this, you can buy a cheaper projector or even use tracing paper for outlining the image. My background colors are titanium white and silver hue, any brand which has been spread beforehand. I've glued curly-like pieces of Create with Metal to my mat, which is extremely sharp and not recommended for children. My basic colors are primary yellow, magenta, ultramarine blue, and a touch of black, with a mixture of 1/3 of each and 2/3 of blue, or until you receive a rich black. Brushes are used or any brand, small rounder, Bob Ross brushes for spreading the background, and a palette knife to make the paint into a Z-shaped form. Small and medium flat brushes and a liner brush for small details. Bristol paper 14 by 17 was used. I'm going to start the painting playground by using an angle brush. It's about a 3/8 of an inch brush and my ruler and a paper towel in my hand for wiping away the paint off the ruler. So one of my secrets is use whatever tool is available for you to make your job easier. So I'm going to grab some of my medium colors here. You'll see in my picture over there that those are light to medium colors. I dropped my paper towel, so now I gotta pick it up. Okay, so I'll start off with a medium color and take my ruler and then get my lines in. Just start like down here and then go up. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then come over a little bit to the side. And look how easy that created. Beautiful. Remember, we use hands all the time in our painting. And then I'll come in here and cover this up. Just kind of make circular motions with the edge of my brush. And do it again. Wipe off my ruler, because I don't want it all over. I start at the bottom and go up. Start at the bottom and go up. Start at the bottom, down here, and go up. And grab a little bit more, wipe off my paper towel. Oh, it keeps dropping. And get this nice fat line in here. And try to not leave some of that pretty metallic color there. Try not to go over all of it. I'm going to leave that a little opened in here with a lighter color paint, just because I can. And because I like the fact that it's kind of down towards the head, but I don't want to cover up the child's head. Looking at my picture, I see that this is coming down a little further, and make circular motions, get the contours in there. Take the edge of the brush, make the circular motion for that connector there. Then I'm going to come up here and make some more straight lines. These lines are going to get thinner and lighter, so I could add a little bit of white, our lighter color in here. Oops. too much paint on the brush, so I took some of it off, and then come down here, get this line, and get this line in here. Once again, don't worry about technical stuff. It's not that important. As you can see, I didn't put any paint on the brush because I want those lighter. I'm gonna drop some of that paint down here because I can. Okay, and we can do this with our brush. It's kind of drying out a little bit, which is good because you don't want a lot of paint up here in the corner. Then this line, I want it a little bit dark. You'll see in the picture that there's a shadow here, and then it's lighter around where the hand is. So I don't want to lose the hand, and I think I have too much paint on my brush. So I'm going to take it and start here at the bottom, go up, kind of skip that a little bit, and that's this the shadowy part. Change brushes. Add a little darker color in there. Change brushes again, use my fingers to blend that in. Watch out for the hand to the child. Children are so much fun, especially on the playground. I just love watching kids. Blend, blend, blend. We always blend, and I blend with your fingers. Then I have the lines mostly in here. There's a line. Nope, I do believe I got them all, and I'm going to blend them in while they're just still a little bit wet. Okay. Grab another angle brush. It's a little bit thicker, and then I'm going to go into the picture where the lighter colors are. Blend in. We always blend, blend, blend. Don't worry about it if it's touching. It's okay to touch different parts of your picture with your fingers. Then this one here is a little lighter, so I'm going to do that one next. Try to stand away a little bit from your painting. Blend it in with the brush. Then this one gets really light here at the end. So I'm going to go with my lightest value, and that has a shadow in it. So I'm going to work around the shadow. Find the contours, work with them. There's a lot of silver in here, and I like that, so I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to kind of blend that in with my fingers. Don't need that roller anymore. I'm And make sure you go all the way to the edges, because you don't want to pull the tape off and then suddenly you say, oh my gosh, I didn't get all the way to the end. I love that silvery color that I created with the metallics. It's going to blend in nicely with the rest of the picture. Now these are going to be a little bit darker, so I can go in. My brush is a little drier, and so I don't want it so dark. I don't want to cover up those pretty dots of metallic. Blend with our fingers, we blend, and it's all right if it goes into the background, who cares? Then there's some shadows in here. This is all in shadow, so I'm going to go darker with my color and find a smaller brush. I'll start over here on this side. That shadow starts right about here. I'm not going to mess with my silver because I love the silver. So I'm just going to bring that in, and then I'm going to blend it in with my fingers, and it comes down here. The shadow comes in here, so I'm going to do that one. Blend again with my fingers. Wiggle the brush some to get into those areas. And I can put in the finer points a little bit later in the painting. Don't worry about being perfect, because that's all right. Add some blending up here. We can do that with our fingers. Look at this nice big thick piece of metallic color. I love that. All right, now I'm just going to kind of, I don't want to be perfect lines, and we can just create those shadows in there. This shadow here is coming right about there. Add a little water to my brush because it's kind of dried out some. All right, there we go. Blend, blend, blend. A good thing. All right, now I'm going to start working on the child. And the child, I want the boy to have some dark hair in here. Try to hold your brush towards the edges and then get the contours in. So remember to paint in. You can leave some light in there because there's some highlights in there. And so you don't even have to paint in there. Use your finger, blend it in. Okay, some hair is coming out here. All right, and then there's a curl right there, some little curly strokes. Wipe my brush, and then come on here, make some more strokes going in. All right, and then I want a little darker on the face, so I'm not even putting any water on the brush. What we want to do is we want to just paint with whatever paint is on that brush, right? And you can see there are some highlights over here around the cheeks, so I'm not going to go in too much with that. I'm just going to do my contours and blend them in, and we can add those little details later. Blend it in with your fingers. All right, the ears, I'll change brushes for a second. And here's the ears, a little bit darker, so I can add some darkness in there. Maybe just a little bit darker. Constantly looking at your picture because you want to go with the flow of the picture. All right, and then I'm going to add some strokes in here with this brush for the head. And this has got a shadow right in here. Shadows and highlights, extremely important. For the benefit of videotaping this, I have to use my hand a little bit more on the paper, just because I can. Changing brushes, and I always hold one brush in my other hand. And I'm going to do this shadow right in here, and that's a darker color. It's almost a little bit darker than the hair. So that's probably, and what you want to do is you want to try it on your paper towel first to make sure that's the color you want. So have your paper towels handy, and there's a little triangle in there. Okay, and contours, going to the contour of the picture. And there's another shadow coming in here that I started on earlier. And then the shirt is really white. And so I'm just gonna take the brush and not put any more paint on. In fact, get most of that paint off. And then bring those colors in because I can, and because I want to. Contours, contours, contours. Bring that color down. Bring those shadows over. Add a little bit of lighter color because I'm getting into more lightness. Look how nice, and how many depths, how many darknesses and shadows and all that stuff appears. Even the lines showing through is nice. Okay. And there's where his pants start. I don't want to cover up the silver once again. And I want to go light on the arms because this is really light here. Use our fingers, remember? Use our fingers. Wavy little lines, a shadow under there. And the arm goes down in here. This is a nice piece of silver. I'm not going to cover that up. And his hand is really light, so I need a different brush. And there's a lot of light in there on the hand. And remember, don't worry about being perfect. You don't have to. There's no such thing as perfect anyways. His fingers are coming out here. I'm just making circular motions. You just want to give a hint of a hand. It doesn't even now. This hand kind of comes around here, so I'm just going to kind of give a hint. I'm even going to spread that in. See how his hand kind of pops out? And there's some lightness right in here. And sometimes you can just leave the white to the paper. You don't have to do anything. Come in with the motions. Blend, blend, blend. Okay. Now I'll go to the pants. And the pants are fairly dark. They're a little bit shade lighter than this. So go to a lighter shade. And here they come in right about here. And find the contours, go with the contours, go in, we go in and out, in circular motions with our paintbrush. Look how nice that just defined this. All right, and then there's some kind of darkness coming up this way. And there's some creases. I'm going to put that in with this brush. Okay. Blend, blend in, blend out, blend all over. Dip my brush in some water and then come over here and you'll see that that color goes a little bit lighter to define the difference in the pants. Add some white, and here we go. Leave that good silver that's already there in there. There's some creases in here, so I'm going to go in like that. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the feet yet. I think I'm just going to bring some of that paint down and make circular motions to give just a part of a leg. Leave some of that white in there. And once again here, this is a little darker, so I'm going to add just a little bit of paint in there. Just a little. And then it gets lighter. Dip my brush in some water. Hold my paintbrushes out. Circular motions. Feet, there's some toes in there. Stuck in there are some toes. Look how nice these shadows are, just making that pop. This is sort of a medium color. Now I want a little bit darker, just tiny bit darker. Coming in here, making my circular motions. Okay, and then dipping my brush in water, bringing that color out here, going along the contours. And that goes this way here. Almost blending in with this really dark post. Blend it with my fingers because then it gives it more a circular motion. Blend, blend, blend. We don't want all those separations. You can even blend that shadow in there. So I'm gonna add a little bit more to that line just to define it more. Okay. And I'm right about here, so I'm going to go with the really dark shadow. Oh, I love darkness in a painting. Not necessarily in a movie, but in a painting. Stand back, try to stand back, and that goes, stay in the lines if you can. If you can't, we don't worry about it. All right, blend that with the fingers. All right. Look how quickly this is painting. Ah, my goodness. All right, now there's another shadow in here, and there's some, I'm right about here. I'm going to go in with a little darkness again, about the same color I had before. Define that edge and bring it out some. And then go darker with, no, just add a little water. So it's not so thick down here. And there's a lot of silver in there, so I'm not going to cover that up. We blend with our fingers. Grab this, went to a darker color, making circular motions going in. I'm right about here. And this is really defined. And there's some silver there, and I want to leave that silver. I just want to give an impression that there's a shadow there. It's just to separate the pants a little bit. Go back in here, make some more circular motions. I love black and white. Black and white photography is my most favorite. Okay, now there's a shadow here too. So I want to separate that shadow a little bit more, but there's a giant silver piece in there that I like, spots, and so I don't want to get rid of it. I want to keep that. I'm just gonna let's just work around it. That's a great idea. Don't you just love painting? I mean, it's so relaxing. But it's always better when it's finished. Okay, let's go up here. No, let's go to this spot here because I don't want to leave that spot out. So I add a little bit of lightness to my paintbrush, but I added a lot of water too because I want the water to come in there. And there's this double circular things. Separate the head out. And it's a little bit darker than this, so it's going to separate those out. Blend with your fingers because we can. All over while the paint's still a little bit wet. This is darker. So I'm going to go with a little bit darker color, and I want to add some water to that. And there's a shadow right there, a dark shadow coming in. So let us grab some black. But I don't want it too dark because I don't want it to compete with the face. I want the face, the body of the boy to stay there. I'm going to blend that in circular motions to make it more circular. All blend, blend, blend. Now, something I'm going to do is really weird, but it's great when you do it. Take your painting and turn it upside down. Oops, I lost my picture, but that's okay. Those things happen. And don't forget to turn your picture upside down too, because you're still painting from the same picture. Okay, look at these shadows here. There's not too much left in there, so whatever I have on my brush, I'm just gonna fill that in. Get my brush in water, and then I'm gonna go with this shadow. This shadow has got a lot of lightness into it. Try to step away from the painting, do circular motions, blend with your hands. Try to stop thinking about the picture. How well you're doing. You're doing fantastic. Fantastic. Remember, there's no mistakes in painting. I love painting. And I love going to the playground and seeing those kids just have so much fun playing. This gets a little bit lighter in here. I think we sometimes forget what it's like to go to the playground and have so much fun. Even when I was going to the playground with my grandson, I got on the swing too. All right. We blend that in with our fingers to separate that. And then there's some shadows in here. So I'm gonna kind of leave that same color, but I'm gonna go a little bit lighter. Blend with your fingers if you go out of the lines, but not too much light. What I really like to have is a rounder brush, but I didn't get one out. Whoops. Sometimes that happens. Your brush goes all over the place. And this has got that silver metallic color. I'm going to leave that in there because I can. Add some white right in here because it's really light in that area. Look at this poor kid. He's upside down. This is actually my grandson. I love him dearly. Okay, what is this? A shadow? Yes. So get some more. And that is really sharp. So you don't do any curves in shadows. Not when you're working with this. And then I'm going to add this part here. That's this part. And it's got some lines in it, but we don't care about those lines. We just want to make sure that everything's blending in while it's still damp. You want it to blend in while it's still damp. That's the best time. Okay, look at this. Boy's upside down. My grandson is. But that's all right. Now I take my hands and spread that paint all around. There's a little spot in here. Let's see, his feet. His feet. Where was that spot? I lost it now. Okay, it's right in here. Okay. Just make some more of those curves in there. Since I'm coming from the different direction and I'm going different ways with my painting and my contours, try to hold your brush at the end using the point. Try to have a paper towel in your hand to wipe off excess paint. And see how easy it is to come down on the lines. You're drawing the lines down. I just barely have any paint on there, which is good, you know. You don't need a lot of paint. I'm just blending, blending, blending. Look at that silver streak. Beautiful, going all the way through there. Now I do want a lot of white in that area. So I'm going to get my lightest color, and I want a real bright hot spot here. I might even have to add a little bit more light to it. And right around his shoulders, there's more white right in here. I want to add more white. Okay, on his face, it's always good to add lots of white. My paint barely has any brush up. My brush barely has any paint on it. Sometimes I'm goofy. Okay, I think we are about done. Add some white in where the feet are. Remember, you want to just give an indication of a toe. You don't have to paint all that stuff in there. It's unnecessary. And there's some highlights in here, so I'm going to make that stand out a little bit. There's a highlight here. You want the form of a toe. Who cares if it's not perfect? We are not perfect people. Let me put my brushes down for a second. Step away. Of course, I'm going to turn it the right side up now. Oops. Those things happen. Sometimes things fall. Now look at that. Whoops, sorry about that. I hit that a little bit. All right, what I want to do is take my fingers and I just wet them down. They got a little bit of paint on them. And I want to do some more blending. I want to blend this just slightly. Circular motions. We want to do circles, circles, circles. This world is filled with circles. Circles, circles, circles. It almost looks like a watercolor. Now a little bit later, I might take a magic marker and define these lines a little bit more. But